Think we're getting more done than ever? Think again, folks. It might feel like we're busier than ever, constantly juggling tasks and racing against the clock. But is all this hustle really translating into more productivity? Here's a doozy. Despite all our fancy technology and hustle culture, productivity growth has been sluggish for decades. We have more tools at our disposal than any generation before us. From smartphones to smartwatches, from AI assistants to cloud computing, the list is endless. Yeah, you heard that right. All these advancements, and yet the numbers don't lie. Productivity isn't skyrocketing as one might expect. We've got robots making our coffee and algorithms scheduling our meetings, yet we're not seeing a huge jump in output. It's almost ironic, isn't it? The more we automate, the more we seem to stagnate. Something doesn't add up, does it? We should be breezing through our to-do lists, but instead, we often find ourselves overwhelmed and underproductive. This puzzling phenomenon is what experts call the productivity paradox. It's a term that encapsulates the strange reality where technological advancements don't necessarily lead to increased productivity. It's the idea that working harder doesn't always translate to better or faster results. In fact, sometimes the harder we push, the more we seem to struggle. In fact, sometimes it feels like the harder we try, the further behind we fall. We burn the midnight oil, only to find ourselves more exhausted and less effective. It's like trying to run up a downward escalator, exhausting and kinda pointless. The more effort we put in, the more it feels like we're just treading water, barely keeping up with the demands of modern work life. So what's the solution? Maybe it's time to rethink our approach. Instead of working harder, perhaps we need to work smarter. Taking breaks, prioritizing tasks, and focusing on what truly matters could be the key to unlocking real productivity. By changing our mindset and strategies, we might just find that sweet spot where technology and human effort combine to create true productivity. After all, it's not about how much we do, but how effectively we do it. Let's rethink productivity and make the most of our time and technology. So, what's going on here? Why does it feel like we're constantly spinning our wheels but not getting anywhere? Why are we stuck in this productivity rut? It's a question that plagues many of us, whether we're working from home or in a bustling office. Well, there's no single answer, but a bunch of factors are at play. It's a complex web of issues that intertwine and create a perfect storm of inefficiency. One of the biggest culprits is our old friend, technology. While it's supposed to make our lives easier, it often does the opposite. Now don't get me wrong, I love my smartphone as much as the next guy. It's a fantastic tool for staying connected and informed. But let's be real, it's also a massive distraction. Every ping, buzz, and notification pulls us away from what we're supposed to be doing. We're bombarded with notifications, emails, and messages all day long, making it nearly impossible to focus on any one task for an extended period. It's like trying to write a novel while juggling chainsaws, messy and ultimately unproductive. And it's not just technology that's to blame. Our work environments can also be a huge factor. Open-plan offices, for example, are notorious for being noisy and full of interruptions. Even with noise-canceling headphones, it's hard to tune out the constant chatter and movement around us. Then there's the issue of multitasking. We often think we're being more productive by juggling multiple tasks at once, but research shows the opposite is true. Multitasking can actually reduce our efficiency and increase our stress levels, making it harder to get anything done. So, what's the solution? It might be as simple as taking a step back, reassessing our priorities, and finding ways to minimize distractions. Whether it's setting specific times to check emails, creating a more organized workspace, or even just taking regular breaks to recharge, small changes can make a big difference. By being mindful of the factors that contribute to our productivity struggles, we can start to take control and work more effectively. It's not about eliminating all distractions, but about managing them in a way that allows us to stay focused and productive. In the end, it's about finding a balance that works for us and helps us achieve our goals without feeling overwhelmed. We've all been there. Deadlines loom, pressure mounts, and we think, I know, I'll just work longer hours. We convince ourselves that pulling an all-nighter or working through the weekend will magically boost our output. But here's the kicker. It rarely does. In fact, consistently working long hours can actually backfire, leading to burnout, decreased creativity, and even more mistakes. It's like trying to run a marathon without ever stopping to rest or refuel. You might make it a few miles, but you'll eventually collapse from exhaustion. life. Tip 5. The burnout epidemic, a real productivity killer. Burnout. It's not just a buzzword, it's a real and pervasive problem, especially in today's fast-paced work environment. Characterized by exhaustion, cynicism, and reduced professional efficacy, burnout is the antithesis of productivity. When we're burned out, we're running on fumes, unable to muster the energy or enthusiasm needed for high-quality work. It's like trying to power a car on an empty tank. You might sputter along for a bit, but you're not going to get very far. Tip 6. Work-life balance, the missing piece. Remember that thing called life outside of work? Yeah, it's kind of important. Yet in our quest for productivity, we often sacrifice our personal lives, neglecting hobbies, relationships, and even basic self-care. But here's the irony. Neglecting our well-being ultimately sabotages our productivity. When we're constantly stressed and sleep-deprived, our brains simply can't function at their best. It's like trying to play a symphony on a broken instrument. You might get some noise out, but it's not going to be pretty. Tip 7. Rethinking productivity quality over quantity. So if working harder and longer isn't the answer, what is? Well, it starts with rethinking our definition of productivity. Instead of focusing solely on how many hours we clock in or how many tasks we check off our to-do lists, we need to prioritize quality over quantity. It's about working smarter, not harder. This means setting clear goals, prioritizing tasks effectively, and focusing on deep, meaningful work. It also means learning to say no to distractions and setting boundaries to protect our time and energy. Tip 8. The importance of breaks and downtime. Here's a radical idea. Taking breaks actually makes us more productive. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but hear me out. Our brains aren't designed for sustained, uninterrupted work. We need regular breaks to rest, recharge, and let our subconscious minds work their magic. Whether it's a quick walk, a chat with a colleague, or simply a few minutes of mindful breathing, stepping away from our work can do wonders for our focus, creativity, and overall well-being. Tip 9. Prioritization and focus. Keys to success. We live in a world of endless distractions. Emails, social media, notifications, they all clamor for our attention, making it harder than ever to focus on the task at hand. But here's the thing, not all tasks are created equal. Learning to prioritize effectively and focus on the most important tasks is crucial for maximizing our productivity. It's about identifying the 20% of our efforts that yield 80% of the results and ruthlessly eliminating or delegating the rest. Tip 10. Creating a sustainable work environment. Creating a sustainable and supportive work environment is crucial for both individual and organizational productivity. This means fostering a culture that values work-life balance, encourages breaks, and provides opportunities for professional development and growth. When employees feel valued, supported, and empowered, they're more likely to be engaged, motivated, and productive. It's a win-win for everyone involved. Tip 11. Share your productivity hacks. So there you have it, folks. The productivity paradox is real, but it's not insurmountable. By rethinking our approach to work, prioritizing our well-being, and creating a more sustainable work environment, we can boost our productivity and our overall happiness. Now, it's your turn. What are your biggest productivity roadblocks? Share your experiences and tips in the comments below.